nobody's going to hurt him. I said, you see, Captain, that was the lesson he never learned in life. The sheriff never learned how to forgive. So everybody should be hanged, and everybody should be hated, and everybody should be punished, and everybody should be humiliated. Everybody should be brought to account for everything they did. And the Lord said, we have to teach him the lesson he never learned while he lived on earth. And that's forgiveness. And so let's make a promise today that we will forgive, because Pentecost is really every day. Every day ask for the Holy Spirit to come to you, because that's where strength comes from. That's where guidance comes from. Enlightenment, protection. And you can see beyond what the world sees. You can take the camouflage off these terrible looking people. Now, I spoke on Good Friday at a church, and a man, and then they gave me the food from the church, and I gave it to Noreen. I was going back to the prison. I said, give it to the homeless on the streets. And she was driving up toward the Balboa Park, and she saw a man there, and she said, would you like some food? There's quite a bit here. A big box full of food or two. And he said, well, I'll bring it in and share it with my friends. Thank you. And it was Easter's, wasn't it?
Yes, Easter's.
Yes, and she said, I'll share it with my friends. And so she pulled up to the boulevard stop, and she looked in the rear view mirror, and she saw the man was down on his knees. He was thanking God for the food. He was thanking God. I don't know, when I come into this beautiful city, and I love Tijuana too, but I see a lot of poverty. Just last week too, Noreen bought a tent for a family of 6 that were living on the ground. They're living on the ground. When you see homeless people, reach out to them and give from your pocket. You know, we always kind of struggle to get the least we can get, you know, to pull the least we can get out. Sometimes we do that and say, well, oh no, that's a 5, I wanted a 1. Give the 5. But you only may get a credit in heaven for 1, because that's all you wanted to give. Give. You know, give and it's given to you. That's what the Bible tells us. Give and it shall be given to you. What did Jesus have? He had nothing. Nothing. He had the Father and him, his apostles, his disciples, and mother. But what kind of money, what kind of materialism? Well, interested. He constantly spoke against what wears everybody out, and that's materialism. You know, but I can't come into the United States, and I thank God I'm an American. I really do. I sing God Bless America in the convent. Not very well, I can tell you that. But I do sing it. And I have a map of the U.S., a little one, and I have a big map, a poor section of Africa with all the huts that are miserable these people are living in, from Doctors Without Borders, and another one of Africa showing where the violence is, and this is, and another one of a war zone here. And you were saying about Iraq and Afghanistan. Yes, you can do something. You can make a novena that war will stop and men will stop being torn apart by other men. It's bayonets, maybe they look all right in the Gladiators or something in a movie, but a bayonet going into somebody, whether it's whatever, Americans, Afghanistans, Israelites, Palestinians, it doesn't matter. They're God's precious children. You and I are not going to live to see the end of war. I'm sorry to say, but at least we should hope for it. We should pray for it, and we should say, I don't mind living on less, Lord. I'll live humbly. If I have a roof over my head and bare necessities, I'll live like that if war could stop, because war is so profitable. You know, war keeps half the world moving. And I had a plan for how we could spend the money years ago, so we wouldn't have to spend it on war materials. I thought, why don't we just build all those planes that are war planes, but have the passenger planes, and transport every single child all over the world during their course of education, and bring everybody from every other country into the United States during their course of education. We'd have to build thousands and thousands and thousands of planes. I think it's a good idea. You know, that's what we want to do, is keep that economy going. And we can do it in simple ways. We have to spend money, but be generous, because You never know. You know, most people that I've seen die without any money at all. Any friends or any family, because they're far from home. And so I will give you, I brought some pictures, and by gosh, I'm using my speaking time and I haven't shown you anything. I will show you something though. Oh, here's our sisters, you can see them. We've got 25.
And while sister's looking, I put posters up on the wall. This is when my children and I
Oh,
went down
okay.
to Mexico.
Now this is a picture of a girl
party.
that died. She died, and she's in her coffin there. And Pearl was her name. She never complained, and she was so sweet. She died of AIDS. She was a poor girl, only 21 years old, came to Tijuana and couldn't find work. And no food. Be glad for welfare. Get on your knees and say, thank God, Lord, that the poor in our country may get food stamps today. Because maybe tomorrow I'm going to need food stamps. And I'm going to be grateful on my knees to get them. Thank God that the poor can get something, where she couldn't get anything and turned to prostitution and died at 21. And I always thought she looked like, if any of you have been to Lourdes, she reminded me of St. Bernadette in her casket. She did. And this is my beloved here. Oh, we do the teeth, you know, I'm the teeth fairy of Tijuana. Everybody else to have a beautiful smile. So every week I get the list, because hundreds of people that want their teeth fixed. And oh, I want everybody to have a beautiful smile, because you have confidence when you can smile. But when you have to go through life going like this, and in the cancer hospital we have the women with cancer, I mean, it's been said to me, she's terminally ill with cancer. Well, let's get her a smile, and she can die with a beautiful smile. Let's give her a smile. And she said, she cried, she said, I never thought I'd live long enough to be able to smile. I never thought I'd live that long. You don't know what it's like if you have to go like this every time you talk. And when you go for a job, they don't want to give you the job because of your appearance. And so these are two of the men in prison, and with teeth and without teeth.
Oh, wow.
And his children came to see him and said, Daddy, you are so handsome. And this one, I think he could be a movie star. And we did 4,000 teeth a few years ago.
Wow.
4,000, because they gave me, the government gave me the Coca-Cola, what do they call it? Pardon? Concession. So the concession. And they said, Mother has the Coke. I said, wait, I don't have the Coke. And I'm going to tell you how money corrupts. I used to tell people, don't drink Coca-Cola, drink orange juice. Coca-Cola rots the inside of your stomach. It's very, very addictive, and it does great harm to you. Don't drink it. And then I had to go to and I said, oh, it's so hot today, they're going to buy lots of Coca-Cola. I was criticized. I never saw a penny of that money, as I don't take money from the mission, as Sister knows. I've got new shoes on. I'm so ashamed of them, and I'm hiding them. Oh. No, because they're very expensive shoes. And Pat brought me to get it, and a man paid for them and made a donation who wanted me to get new shoes. But they're Echoes, and they were over $100. And we buy shoes for some of the women in the prison. We pay $10. So my shoes cost about, I could have given 12 women a pair of shoes, but I did get these shoes from the goodness of other people, but I still feel just a little ashamed wearing such expensive shoes.
It was a girl. I could hardly get her out of the store because she says, dear, you're just too much.
Well, anyway, it's just the way it is. And this is something else. Everybody says you're from Beverly Hills. You know, Beverly Hills, and Beverly Hills is Beverly Hills, and it's great. It's great. My father said you'll always talk about being from Beverly Hills. No, I won't. I always talk about being. Other people talk about it. But I remember, you know, they were playing some Irish songs here, and